of similar to how Van Cleef matches their pieces with colored stones, but you never wanted to jump on the bandwagon of Van Cleef, this would be, in my opinion, quite a special alternative to look into. Hello my friends! This year I would like to start a new series which I'm not quite sure what we're going to call yet. I have to come up with a creative name, but basically I would like to go through some of the most popular luxury houses as well as some more understated ones and share with you my top 5 favorite picks, the ones that I still think are worth your money and your time. So if you've ever toyed with the idea of exploring a brand as popular as Chanel or as understated as Bulgari, let's say, I hope you'll find these guides helpful with where you should really begin. And today we're kicking things off with Dior. But if there are any other brands that you'd like me to touch on, be sure to let me know in the comment section, because my goal is to touch on all the brands that you are truly interested in. So without further ado, if you'd like to hear my thoughts on what Dior pieces you should absolutely invest in 2022, then please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and keep on watching. One thing that I have to point out about Dior is narrowing it down to just 5 recommendations was actually quite difficult, which I guess is better than struggling to pick 5 pieces that I actually like. But I tried my best to curate a variety of pieces, ones that will get you a good idea for what the brand is all about without going overboard and just overwhelming you with recommendations. So let's jump straight into it. And the first piece that I chose from Dior, you may remember me talking about, especially if you've been with me since 2020, because I actually picked up this pair of sneakers as soon as they launched in 2 different colors to try, which are the B27 sneakers. They kind of reminded me of the Nike Air Jordan sneakers, and it was funny because this design launched almost immediately after the ultra hyped collaboration between Dior and Nike. And if you couldn't get your hands on those limited edition sneakers, this was not only just an alternative, but in my opinion, a much better alternative, because I find the B27 sneakers to be just so much more multifunctional. I have seen these sneakers styled with full-on suits as well as with jeans and track pants, and they look equally fabulous. So if you'd like to have one pair of sneakers that you can style in a million different ways, this is definitely a great pair to invest in. But just in case you're looking for something a little bit more elegant, Dior also has a pair of sneakers which has been around for a really long time, called the Walk and Dior sneakers, which are technically from their women's line, but they have been so popular and beloved that they continue expanding on the collection and coming out with new colorways and even patterns. Unsurprisingly, because they're some of the most flattering sneakers out there. But one detail that I have to bring your attention to is that the Walk and Dior sneakers are notorious for being incredibly small cut. So if you have smaller feet, you're going to love them, especially if you usually struggle to find sneakers that don't make your feet look gigantic. These are a match made in heaven for you. But if you have larger feet or you don't like tightly made shoes, I'm just going to put it out there, these are not for you. But if you can pull them off and if you can find a size that truly suits you, these are phenomenal. They are obviously kind of casual by nature. They are a pair of sneakers, but at the same time there is something unbelievably elegant about them. And the fact that they have this really thick chunky sole also makes them flattering. So these are some of the best sneakers that Dior has to offer. I have to be honest, I'm not a particularly big logo person, but the only exception that I have is the Dior Oblique. Even though it's pretty much as logoed out as you can go, there is something special about the Dior Oblique fabric that I just love, which is something that I've known about myself for a really long time. I'm not quite sure if it's because it's more abstract as a logo, or if it's just really the font that it's quite old school and elegant. But I'm a sucker for anything with a Dior oblique. But this next piece, I was kind of reluctant to buy. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a piece that I will ever be able to wear. And to my surprise, it has become one of the most worn pieces in my collection, which is my Dior oblique mesh t-shirt in this super dark navy blue color, which you would probably look at on the hanger and think to yourself that there's no way that I'm ever going to wear a completely see-through mesh t-shirt, and that's exactly what I thought. But I have found so many fun and exciting ways of styling this piece. Every time my outfits feel just a little bit lackluster, this is the piece that I always reach for, because there's something about this that just adds the perfect amount of additional dimension and layering to any outfit that you have. I have worn this under really simple cashmere knits, just for some added elements on the collar or just a little bit showing underneath the sleeve. I have worn this under shirts every time I want to put on a shirt that looks the most flattering when it's a little bit more open. This is the piece that I reach for, just because sometimes I don't feel comfortable coming on camera or going out on the street with my shirt being unbuttoned all the way down to my waist. This gives you some added coverage and also some added dimension with the Dior oblique and the color of the mesh. You can also play around with this over a t-shirt or under a t-shirt, or even without the t-shirt, depending on where you're going to wear this to. I think it would also make an amazing beach cover up on its own, but I have also worn it to more formal events with a formal pair of pants and a t-shirt underneath it, just to add some excitement and some more Dior to my outfits, because as I said, I can never get enough Dior oblique. So even though it was surprising, it has definitely become one of my most worn pieces from Dior. But one thing that is quite disappointing is that this particular mesh t-shirt is not currently being produced by Dior. As far as I know, there are still a few of them floating around out there, but they're not making any more of them at the moment. But I still wanted to talk about it because I have a suspicion that they will bring it back at some point in some shape or form, just because they have reiterated this so many times and it was so popular. They made it into a turtleneck. They also made this part of one of their recent collaborations. So it would be surprising if they said farewell to this so soon. But I'm just going to tell you that if you find this in a size that fits you, don't ask any questions, jump on it, because trust me, this is going to be one of the most worn pieces in your collection, just because there is so much that you can do with a piece like this. Let's just say that you love Dior, but you're not as big of a fan of their oblique as I am, which I'm not quite sure why that would be, but let's just say that's the case. If you'd like to add a Dior piece to your collection that is iconic to the house of Dior, but doesn't necessarily scream and shout the brand name, although anyone who knows anything about Dior will recognize it in a heartbeat, I would highly suggest that you put the Dior bar jacket on your radar, which is one of the most iconic silhouettes created, not only amongst other Dior pieces, but in fashion history in general. It's a piece that was designed, I believe, in the 1930s by Mr. Dior himself, and it has certainly stood the test of time, because I cannot think of another jacket that has a shape quite as outstanding that you can buy straight off the rack as the shape of the bar jacket. Now, one thing that I have to say is that it is going to be a large investment to make. I think the bar jackets start at around $3,700 in knits, and then they go up to being nearly $6,000 in their more traditional fabrics. But it's an investment that you only have to make once, because these jackets will last you a lifetime, and you can wear them every single day for years to come and never get tired of it, because you can style it in so many different ways. They look equally spectacular styled with a pair of jeans, a pair of shorts, and a really simple t-shirt, as they do over a couture gown or a really extravagant skirt, or even a cashmere knit. You can really make it feel really rock and roll and grungy, or you can make it super elegant and proper. You can do whatever you want to do with this piece, and if you want to wear it every single day for the next 10 years, you can, which definitely makes it sound like a much better investment. So I am a big fan of the bar jacket, even though it's not something that I personally could pull off, just because it's such a particular shape. It has this really traditional, quite feminine hourglass shape to it, which emphasizes the waist, and it's not the kind of shape that I personally go for. And if you're in the same boat as I am, you've always loved the idea of the bar jacket, but you could never pull it off yourself. Bear in mind that Dior is launching a bar jacket for men for fall winter, which I am really excited to try. But anyway, we're here to talk about the classic bar jacket, which is absolutely worth your money and your time even in 2022. If you'd like to buy a piece that will last a lifetime, it will never go out of style, and it's really quite understated, yet it just makes you look like $1,000,000. You might be noticing a pattern in this video because I try to pick pieces that I feel would suit anyone out there, whether you are a luxury rookie and you're trying to make any one of these your first luxury purchase, or you're a seasoned luxury collector with plenty of pieces to go around and you're looking to spice up your collection or add a new facet to it. I do think that any one of these pieces would be an amazing way to do them, and we couldn't do a video about Dior classics without at least mentioning the Lady Dior, which personally is one of my most favorite luxury bags, just because when we talk about classic luxury bags, covetable luxury bags that everyone needs to have in their collections, most people think of pieces from Louis Vuitton, they think of the Chanel Classic Flap, they think of the Hermes Birkin, and by no means I'm comparing any one of these bags to each other because it's nearly impossible to do that. They're so different from each other, and that's why they're so beloved, because they add different facets to your collections. But if you're thinking about adding one luxury bag to your collection, if you would like to buy one that you can make work in 1,000,001 different ways, the Lady Dior is a great piece to look into. Number one, because it's not nearly as overdone as something like the Chanel Classic Flap, and it gets you quite a bit of bang for your buck. I find I still think that it's reasonably priced compared to other bags. I think you can find a Lady Dior in full leather for just around $5,000, which in the grand scheme of things, $5,000 at this point for a larger leather bag is really not as crazy, especially considering the quality, considering how timeless and classic the Lady Dior is. But just like the bar jacket, it's a piece that you can adjust and adapt to fit your own individual style. I have seen the Lady Dior being styled with a leather jacket, ripped jeans, and a pair of combat boots, and I love them just as much as I would if it was styled to go to a red carpet event. It all depends on how you're going to style it, what you're going to wear it with, and which size you go for, because there are quite a few different sizes of the Lady Dior at this point, but personally the sizes that I am currently looking into buying for my sister-in-law are the mini size that comes with a chain and the small size which comes with a thicker band that you can actually customize with different charms. But you can also go for the micro size, which is itty bitty, or you can go for one of the larger sizes. It would be difficult to go wrong with any one of them. And last but not least, this next item that I picked is going to be really on trend, but not necessarily because of the design, but more of because of what it actually is. I have definitely noticed more and more people becoming more conscious consumers, including myself. I feel like overconsumption is not as much in trend as it used to be. I definitely feel like that more and more people think twice before they add something new to their collections because of the quality, because of how often they can wear it, and the value that they truly add to their collections. And I feel like one of the things that are becoming less and less popular are fashion jewelry pieces, which I was never really the biggest fan of to begin with, just because I find that fashion jewelry quickly becomes redundant and oftentimes it's way overpriced for the quality that you get. Now, do I think that brands should stop making fashion jewelry and you should completely stop buying them? Absolutely not. I still think that there's a time and a place for fashion jewelry, especially if you're buying something that is more of a statement piece. That, let's say, you can buy from a fashion jewelry range for like $1,000, but if you wanted to buy it made of precious gold and precious stones, it would cost you 100,000. But if you're thinking about accessorizing the fashion jewelry pieces that you have and elevating them, the best way to do it is to actually layer them with some really fine and elegant fine jewelry pieces, and Dior has plenty of that to offer. Now, they do have a ton of different collections and ranges for you to choose from depending on what you're looking for. But my favorite line is the Rose Devon collection, which not only has the iconic Dior star on it, which is one of Mr. Dior's lucky charms. That's why you see that as a symbol on their bag. So when you buy something from Dior, you get that little metal charm on your shopping bag. You see it on the bottom of their shoes, and we have also started seeing it on some of their bags. But in case you don't know why that is and you're not familiar with the story goes that Mr. Dior was quite a superstitious gentleman, and when he was contemplating starting his own brand and leaving his old job behind, he was looking for a sign, and as he was wandering the streets of Paris, he came across this star on the street that he almost stepped on, and he felt that that was the sign that he had been looking for to start his legacy and establish the House of Dior, which now in hindsight was definitely the right decision. And if you're just as superstitious as I am, I know that you'll appreciate the sentiment. And even if you're not, it's something pretty to look at. And this collection is inspired by the Star of Dior, and it is definitely one of my favorite collections. There are pendants, there are necklaces in different sizes, bracelets and rings, and the whole shebang. But personally, if I could only choose one piece for you to start your Dior fine jewelry collection, whether you're buying it to elevate your fashion jewelry pieces because you're going to be layering it with everything else that you own, or just to wear it on its own, I think the single pendant is the best one, especially for the price. I do think that they start at just around $2,200, which I think is an amazing price for what you get, especially because this is not nearly as popular and as talked about as some other popular, more entry-level fine jewelry pieces from brands like Cartier or even Van Cleef. Even though you do get quite a bit of gold, and you also get a pop of color because the star is matched with different precious stones, so you can choose not only which precious stone you resonate with, but also which color suits you the best. So you can buy it with turquoise, you can buy it in black, you can buy it with a mother of pearl. There are plenty of options for you to choose from. So if you've always loved the idea of colored stones matched with rose gold, white gold, or yellow gold, which are all options when it comes to this range, kind of similar to how Van Cleef matches their pieces with colored stones, but you never wanted to jump on the bandwagon of Van Cleef, this would be, in my opinion, quite a special alternative to look into. And what's great about these pieces is that they are actually reversible, so you can either show the star with the color stone being behind it, or you can switch it to just showing off the stone itself, which I think it is really fun. And if you are at the beginning of starting your fine jewelry collection, having these multifunctional pieces in your collection will go a really long way. So next time you're at Dior, definitely check out their fine jewelry creations, even just for a browse, because I can guarantee that you'll come across some literal hidden gems. And my friends, these have been my favorite pieces from Dior that I do think are worth your money in 2022. I would love to hear your thoughts. What's your favorite piece from Dior? And if you enjoyed this video and if you're excited about this series, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And if there are any brands that you would like me to touch on, don't forget to let me know in the comment section. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you back here with a new video really, really soon. But for now, bye.